Hey everybody, so I wanted to come on here and share a little video of my weekend. Me and the bestie went to our local Six Bridges Book Festival, and so I have a little book haul at the end of this video, and I'll tell you a little bit about the books that we got, the authors that we met, and yeah, so it was a fun weekend. The weather was perfect. Six Bridges Book Festival is the COWS, which is Central Arkansas Library System, puts on this festival every year. It's named Six Bridges because there's 6 bridges that connect Little Rock and North Little Rock. The festival is mainly held in Little Rock, and they have like a week-long of events, different events at different venues that are connected to the library. Like there was an event earlier this week at the one of the bookstores, and then a couple of the events most of the events are at the main library, which we just did a huge renovation for our main library here, and so they did their grand reopening during this festival, which was kind of cool, to be able to go down to the big library, the main library, and see the new place. And so that was going on, and then the library square area down there has a theater that is connected to the library, the Ron Robinson Theater, and so some of the events were over there, the author talks and all that. They did some different cooking classes and different writing workshops. This has all been kind of done throughout the week, but yesterday was the big event where they had the grand reopening, and they had, majority of the authors and all that. It finishes today, which is Sunday. It finishes today with Shelby Van Pelt, the author of and my mind just went blank. Bright Creatures, Incredibly Bright Creatures. The octopus story. Shelby Van Pelt is going to be doing an author talk and fundraiser event this evening. I'm not going to that because the tickets were like $100 or something like that, and they sold out pretty quick. But we did all day yesterday. Got to meet a handful of different authors, got a handful of books, and all that good stuff. So I wanted to come on here and kind of tell you about the festival and show you a little bit about it, and then I'll do a book haul at the end and go over. I'm hoping, I'm one of these people that I'm not good at book reviews, and this course won't be a book review because I haven't read the books yet, but it will be a book haul, and I'll tell you a little bit about the authors that we met and a little bit about the book. I'm hoping my brain can remember, yesterday. It was a very big day. We got there a little after 10, and we stayed till the last author. The last author talk was 5:30 to 6:30. And so it was a very big day, but it was a good day. The crowd was decent. Lunch was great. All the authors were great. So, yeah. Let's just get into it. Like I said, I'll show you a little bit about it and some clips that I took throughout the day, and then we'll finish up with a book haul. So, here we go.
A book. It starts with an idea. That idea becomes words on a page. The words tell a story. Every story holds value. Every voice has a place. At COWS, each book goes on a journey, not just from the author's mind to your hands, but through the eyes of experts, collection managers. We have 4: fiction, nonfiction, kids, and AV. Masters of more than just literature. They hold advanced degrees. They have a deep understanding of what our community needs, and they maintain the nearly 800 nonfiction with nonfiction. Kids' books where kids can find them. Every book has a home. Every section has a purpose. Our shelves are built for everyone, for every age, background, and belief. Resources to enlighten, stories to empower, perspectives to discover. Because a true collection reflects a community. And in a democracy, the library stands as a sanctuary for voices, for ideas, and for freedom of speech. When you finish a library book, you're part of a greater story of education and empowerment. And it's one we're proud to tell every day at CALS.
For years, but I'm also someone with a background as a participant in underground and DIY music. So in addition to writing about music, I've lived at a few different music venues over the years. The first sentence of the book, I talk about how when I started writing this book, I was working at a DIY music venue.
cue to get started. So good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining us at the 2025 Six Bridges. A little bit about the wonderful authors that we are working with of these stories today. I'm so excited to introduce you all to Susie Dumont, the author of Bed and Breakup. Susie is, yes, you can applaud, you can applaud. Susie is a queer writer originally from Little Rock, Arkansas. Some of her other works include Queerly Beloved and Looking for a Sign. Susie talks about books as a senior contributor at Book Riot and is a bookseller at her local indie bookstore where she lives with her spouse, Mickey, and her cat, Maple, in Washington, D.C. She's newly the recipient of the Larry Neal Writers Award, honoring writers who are making a lasting impact on D.C.'s literary community. And when she's not writing or reading, you can find her baking cupcakes or belting karaoke at the nearest gay bar. So everyone, please give another round of applause to Susie Dumont. Now, our other author, we have Sonora Reyes, the author of The Proposal. Correct. Sonora was born and raised in Arizona. They are the award-winning and best-selling author of some other works, including The Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School, the Luis Ortega Survival Club, and their newest book, which just came out about 3 weeks ago, actually, The Golden Boy's Guide to Bipolar. Sonora has contributed short stories to anthologies Transmanga Cry and For the Rest of Us. They write fiction celebrating queer and Mexican stories in a variety of genres, with current projects in both kidlit and adult categories. Outside of writing, Sonora loves breaking their body and vocal cords by playing with their baby nibblings and dancing and singing karaoke at the same time. Clearly, you and Susie are going to get along great if you haven't already been doing that. So everyone give it up one more time for Sonora Reyes. So
It just captured me. It was one that I stayed awake reading. And so when I saw that you were coming, I got really excited. So I'm really excited for you. And then Maggie, I have an employee named Nate. And Nate is one of Maggie's biggest fans. And he has talked about Maggie forever. Texts me every day, when's the Raven Boys coming in? I need it now. So Maggie, I feel really honored that I'm up here getting to talk with you, and I'm sorry, Nate.
Where's Nate?
I want to also say that we were also talking backstage, and both of them are playing music. So I'm just going to throw this out here. Maggie plays bagpipes, Dolan plays the piano, and did I hear banjo as well?
A little bit, yeah.
And then Steve, our sound guy, plays drums. So next time, I think we should have a little jam session. Very different ways. Dolan, you're excavating a little-known chapter of American history, and Maggie, you're blending historical realism with something uncanny.
Donors Choose picked Scorpio races from her school library, and a reader sent it to me. And so I told the intern, I said, if you guys find the concert copy she wants, I will drive down there and do a library visit. And so they funded it in 1 hour, and all the comments said, you're going to love Maggie. Of course, the librarian says, I'm so confused, what is happening? And at the end I said,
So yeah, that was our day. It was pretty busy, but a lot of fun. We managed to do 4 author talks. We did the book swap. We had lunch. And yeah, so it was pretty fun. So one of the other things that we did was I got not that I needed one, but I got a new library card, and I got it because they did a like a contest to create your own card, create a card, and drawing art contest and all that a while back. They've been working on it for a while, and they announced the winners the other day, and this is one of the adult winners, and his name's Matthew, and I know him. He's a local artist, and so yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. So I wanted to get a library card with his art on it. So yeah, they let me upgrade to an artist that I know library card. So that was pretty cool. So again, we managed to do the book swap and the author talks and all that. The book swap was set up to where, kind of like a little free library. I didn't know what we'd be getting into. I didn't know if it was going to kind of be like regulated, or I didn't know what we were going to have to do. If we were going to like walk up and say, I have 3 books to swap, and and so they were going to like, or if it was going to be a bunch of people standing around swapping books or what. But it was set up pretty low key, pretty simple. So we participated in that. And basically the way they had it set up was, again, like a little free library, to where they had just a back room in the back of the library that had a couple of shelves, and people just kind of mingled in and out and brought books and took books and all that. So we did that first, and I ended up with 2 books from the book swap. I had taken 2 or 3. My friend Jen had taken a couple of them, and I don't know how many she ended up with, but they had some really good books there. It was like, oh, I could take like all these. But the 2 that I ended up with are kind of on my TBR lists. One is Fuzz by Mary Roach. This is an ARC copy. But Mary Roach is one of my favorite authors. I've only read 1 or 2 books by her, but the book I read by her was called Stiff, and I've got Spook that's by her that I'm working on reading for this month, for October. But anyways, Fuzz is about nature, animals, things of that nature. So it says when nature breaks the law. So see if there's a blurb about it somewhere. What's to be done about a jaywalking moose, a grizzly bear caught breaking and entering a murderous tree? As New York Times bestseller author Mary Roach discovers the answers are best found not in jurisprudence but in science, the curious science of human-wildlife conflict, a discipline at the crossroads of human behavior and wildlife biology. So, again, Mary Roach writes nonfiction about cool things, and she breaks it up in cool ways. So, I grabbed this, again, at the book swap, free. It's in great condition. And I grabbed this, Emma Straub's This Time Tomorrow. Now, the only reason why I grabbed this, I don't know that I've ever read anything by Emma Straub. But I grabbed this because I'm doing the Pop Sugar Challenge, and one of the prompts for Pop Sugar is to read a book that AI generated from your favorite book or author or whatever. I don't know exactly what the prompt is, but when I did that, and I didn't do AI, I didn't do ChatGPT or anything like that. What I did was I just Googled what books are recommended if your favorite book is Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. And the 2 of them on that list, it was a handful, but 2 of them on the list were like, oh, okay, that sounds good. And Emma Straub's This Time Tomorrow was one of them. So I saw this and I was like, okay, cool. So again, Mary Roach is somebody that I like to read, and I like to read her stuff. And then Emma Straub was This Time Tomorrow was kind of recommended by the internet for that reading prompt. So I grabbed those two. Now, on to the author talks. We did, the first author talk we went to was kind of like, it wasn't on our agenda. We had like a timed agenda to go to. So we didn't miss anything that we really wanted to see. The first author talk we went to was not on our agenda, but we did the book swap and was like, okay, well, we have some extra time, so let's hang out, or, let's see what we can go to. And we ended up going to John Warner and Liz Pelly, was a double author talk, but John Warner was out, and so it was just an author talk with Liz Pelly. Now, Liz Pelly wrote Mood Machine. So here's their little blurb. And like I said, John Warner was out, but we did see Liz Pelly. Liz Pelly wrote Mood Machine, The Rise of Spotify and the Cost of the Perfect Playlist. This book takes an unsparing look at Spotify's origins and influence on music, weaving unprecedented reporting with incisive cultural criticism, illuminating how streaming is reshaping music for listeners and artists alike. So that was interesting conversation about Spotify and about how the music industry, and how it works with AI and AI generated music. And, it was interesting. I didn't purchase her book. I'm not that interested in it. I'm not a music nerd. So, but it was interesting, and she's a pretty cool author and all that. So that was our first one. I don't have a book haul for that one. The John Warner, he was going to talk on More Than Words, How to Think About Writing in the Age of AI, which would have been pretty interesting to me, but he, again, didn't show up, so that's cool. So the next author talk we did, let me find it here, was, so we went to lunch after that. Yes, we went to lunch after the mood. Yes. Excuse me. John Warner and Liz Pelly were from 11:30 to 12:30, and then we went to lunch. Downstairs, they had food trucks there, but the only one we could really find was hot dogs, tamales, or popcorn. And so we weren't really feeling that. But the new library has Boulevard Bread Company, which is a deli sandwich bread shop in the bottom of the library. And so we went there for lunch. I had a turkey sandwich, and she had a goat cheese panini of some sort. Really good food. Really good. So we did lunch, and then we went back upstairs to the author talk was Susie Dumond and Sonora Reyes. The books were Bed and Breakup and The Broposal. So here's their little blurb. Let me make sure I get it in here. So those two author talks were good. So they kind of bounced off each other, which was pretty cool because they were queer representation, LGBTQ. So the topics the questions were relevant to both of them. So, the first one was The Broposal by Sonora Reyes. I grabbed this book, and they signed it for me down there, and they drew the little cactus guy and the little, I guess this is an octopus. I don't really know, but she told me that my apologies. They told me that the little cactus guy was this guy, and he's part of the story. This book, roommates Alejandro and Kenny get married. At least that's what all their close friends and family think when they announce their engagement. The kicker, the two are faking their whole relationship so Alejandro can get a green card. But if Han, I guess Alejandro, Han is his nickname. If Han was going to marry anyone, it would be his ride or die since first grade. Han has never been able to put down roots, and the only one who truly breaks through his walls is Kenny. So it's a romance, obviously by a proposal, fake dating, fake marriage, all that good stuff. So, yeah, I was pretty interested in this. And again, the author talk was really good. So I grabbed that one. Ooh, got an avalanche going on here. The the next one I grabbed was by Susie DeMonge. Again, she was in the author talk, Bed and Breakup. Now, I didn't go into these author talks. We wanted to go to these author talks. This was one on our list, mainly because Jen is a romance reader. I was just kind of like, yeah, that's cool. I'll go check it out. No intentions of buying the books. No intentions of, I mean, I like a good romance every once in a while, but no intentions of, I mean, this author talk wasn't on my radar. But the talks were so good, and they talked about the books, and the stories sounded so good, and I was like, all right, fine, you got me. Bed and Breakup by Susie DeMonge. She has a couple of other books out. Queerly Beloved and Looking for a Sign. Bed and Breakup. Two exes reunite to fix up and sell the bed and breakfast that destroyed their marriage. Because some dreams, no matter how dusty or broken, deserve a second chance. Now, the cool thing about this, it is, again, queer representation, but it is, I'll just read the first sentence on the back of this. As newlyweds, Molly and Robin made the Hummingbird Inn into a trendy destination for queer travelers in the quirky mountain town of Eureka Springs, Arkansas. So, Eureka Springs is like, hour and a half, 2 hours away from me. And it is a quirky little town. So she talked a lot about Arkansas representation in this. And so I was like, okay, well, I like to read about people that I know or that I know of, not personally know, and I like to read about places that I'm familiar with. So I was like, okay, you got me. Grabbed it. And she signed it to Michelle. Yay for Arkansas love. So that's cool. So we grabbed both of those. Jen grabbed both of those as well. So that one went 2:30 to 3:30. And then we went to Jennifer Haig and Milo Todd. I didn't get any pictures or video of that per request of Milo Todd, which was cool. The books covered were Rabbit Moon and The Lilac People. So Jennifer Haig... here's their blurb. Jennifer Haig, author of 8 best-selling, critically acclaimed works of fiction. I just loved her. She was great. Yeah, she was great. Just her conversation, all that. Her first novel, Miss Kimball, won the PEN Hemingway Award for debut fiction, and her novel, Mercy Street, won the 2023 Mark Twain American Voice and Literature Award. Rabbit Moon is set in Shanghai, where a fractured American family confronts their troubled past after their estranged daughter is hit by a car. So, Rabbit Moon by Jennifer Haig. First off, I love the cover. Bravo. She talked about how she wrote this because and during her time, she did like a 3-month, I don't know what you call it, but she lived in Shanghai for 3 months. And while she was over there, learned a lot about the culture and all this and that, and this novel came about. Because again, it is set in Shanghai and all that. Tense, riveting drama set in Shanghai where a fractured American family faces its complicated past. After their bitter divorce, Claire and Aaron get a phone call no parent is prepared for. Their 22-year-old daughter, Lindsay, teaching English in China during a college gap year, has been critically injured in a hit-and-run accident. At a Shanghai hospital, they wait at her bedside, hoping for the best and preparing for the worst. The accident unearths a deeper fissure in the family, the shocking event that ended the marriage and turned Lindsay against them. Estranged from her parents, she has confided only in her younger sister Grace, adopted as an infant from China. As Claire and Aaron struggle to get their bearings in bustling, cosmopolitan Shanghai, the newly prosperous Miracle City, they face troubling questions about Lindsay's life there, in which nothing is quite as it seems. It just sounded really interesting. And again, the author, I just really liked her mannerisms and the way she talked about her book and her writing process and all that. So I was like, okay, this was on my radar to get if it sounded if the author talk went well, and it did. And so I grabbed it and I got it signed. Let's see here. For Michelle, with all good wishes, Jennifer Haig. So, again, I haven't read any of these books yet, so, but they all sounded good. So, she had the conversation with Milo Todd. Milo Todd wrote The Lilac People. And so, let's see here. The Lilac People. The Lilac People is a moving and deeply humane novel about a trans man who must relinquish the freedom of pre-World War II Berlin to survive first the Nazis, then the Allies, while protecting the ones he loves. So, Milo talked a lot about the research that he did going into this, to the point to where, like, he learns German. Because he did all the research on this, again, World War II stuff, and he got to where he was down to the archives, and they were German, and they were written in German and all that, and so he's like, okay, well, I guess I'll learn German. And so he went through, so this was a long time coming. A lot of research went into this. I'm super excited to read this. From what I understand from people in the audience at that author talk, both of these books are very heavy, and so it's a lot to read them back to back, is what the ladies in the audience said. But I'm pretty excited to read both of them. And here's what I think is cool about this book: it's purple. I just think that's cool. You don't see many purple books, you know. So, anyways, The Lilac People. 1932 Berlin, trans man named Bertie and his friends spend carefree nights at the El Dorado Club, the epicenter of Berlin's thriving queer community. An employee of the renowned Dr. Magnus Hirschfeld at the Institute of Sexual Science, Bertie works to improve queer rights in Germany and beyond. Everything changes when Hitler rises to power, the institute is raided, El Dorado is shuttered, and queer people are rounded up. Bertie barely escapes with his girlfriend Sophie to a nearby farm. There they take on the identities of an elderly couple and live for more than a decade in isolation. Let me let the plane go by. Yes, so I'm supremely interested in this. I think it is going to be a heavy book. But I'm interested in it. So the cool thing about this author talk, both of these authors got up on the microphone and talked about, they didn't talk about their book, they read excerpts from their book, which was pretty cool. To hear it in the author's own voice, it was pretty cool. So that was the 4 to 5 p.m. author talk. The next author talk, which, I mean, I was kind of cool with. Again, Jen and I were kind of like, when we started planning this, we were like, okay, which ones do you want to go see? Okay, which ones do you want to go see? Okay, let's, I'll go see this one, and, cool. So we kind of hashed it out either way. The last author talk was Maggie, and I'm going to say her name wrong, Maggie Stiefvater and Dolan Perkins Valdez. Maggie Stiefvater is the listeners, and Dolan Perkins Valdez wrote Happy Land. So here's their blurb. So I'd never read anything by Maggie. So I'm not a huge fan of hers. I don't know. She was pretty cool though. In person, she was pretty cool. Jen is a huge fan of hers, read all of her stuff and all that. So she was pretty excited about this. So the pictures at the end are pictures of Jen and Maggie together. And of course, Jen bought that book. I didn't buy that book, the listeners, because, it sounded pretty interesting, but, so let's see here. Let me read a little bit about the listeners. The listeners features a mesmerizing portrait of an irresistible heroine, an unlikely romance, and a hotel and a world in peril. After the attack of Pearl Harbor thrusts America into World War II, June Hudson, manager of the Grand Avalon Hotel and Spa, must host several hundred Axis diplomats until their return can be arranged. Sounded pretty good. Sounded pretty interesting. And like I said, I liked Maggie. I thought she's pretty cool. But by this point, I've already bought 4 books, 2 of which I had not planned to buy. So I was like, I'll pass. So Dolan Perkins Valdez, this was on my list to grab. So I like to read about, and I'm interested in, like, the Appalachian stuff. I don't get too much into it because it can spook me out and freak me out. But so Happy Land is the, let me back up real quick. The Lilac People, I had Milo Todd sign it, and so this was what was pretty cool. It kind of gave me chills. Sorry to bounce around. I just forgot about this. He signed it, Michelle. The ghosts of history are watching, kissing our foreheads. So that's cool. And again, he talked a lot about this and the research that went into this. And so, yeah. Again, I'm really excited to read this. But anywho, back to Happy Land. Happy Land by Dolan Perkins Valdez. I'm kind of excited to read this as well. So let's see here. In the novel Happy Land, Nikki hasn't seen her grandmother in years due to a mysterious estrangement inherited from her mother. So when the elder calls out of the blue with an urgent request for Nikki to visit her in the hills of western Northern Carolina, Nikki hesitates only for a moment. After years of silence in her family, she's determined to learn the truth while she still can. So, Dolan talked a lot about this book and the research that went into this book, and it's a lot about listening to your elders and your family history and things like that. The first blurb says, in the hills of Appalachia, there once was a kingdom. So my gathering from about this book is that it is about a place called Happy Land. I could be wrong. This is just what I gathered from the talk, that where this group of people kind of gathered with the idea that they would be their own government, do their own thing, have their own community. So it's pretty interesting because it's in Appalachia, and I'm just kind of interested in Appalachia stuff. So for Michelle, Oh, How They Dreamed. So that is my book haul. I'm pretty excited about it. I've got a lot of reading to do. A lot of reading to do, but I'll get there eventually. So that was my day at Six Bridges Book Festival. I had a great time. Jen had a great time, and we came away with a handful of books and met some pretty cool authors, and yeah. So I'm kind of putting myself, I was telling Jen earlier, I'm kind of putting myself on a book buying ban, because I don't normally buy books at list price, and I bought 4 of them. So I'm kind of putting myself on a book ban until next year's Six Bridges. They do it every year in the fall. And my only caveat to that is, between now and next Six Bridges, my only caveat to buying any books, I'm not even going to do 50-cent yard sale books, nothing. I've just got to, My only caveat to that is that if I go to a book signing, an author, talk or anything like that between now and then, and they have books for sale that I'm interested in and can get it signed and all that, that's my only caveat to buying any more books. So, but any trips to Barnes & Noble, not that I do that a lot, any trips to bookstores, book sales, things of that nature, I'm going to try my dangest to avoid, to take a breather from spending money on books, because I have so many books right now. My TBR list is forever long. So anyways, that was my day. It's a very exhausting day, but it was fun and very bookish, and yeah. So thanks for joining me, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.